After tons of collecting, playing, and reviewing, it's finally possible to do a side-by-side comparison of an arcade classics and my arcade version of the same title, and the results might surprise you.
Don't you know that you're a grown up? No games, no puns. Not allowed if you're a grown up.
Hey, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John. I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thanks for checking out this video and the channel. If you watched any of our stuff recently, you've probably seen we've been reviewing quite a few of these little cool handheld portable arcade machines. But there've really been two camps. There's been the My Arcade version, and then there's been the Arcade Classics version. And if a game was on the Arcade Classics, it wasn't on the My Arcade, and vice versa. So you kind of had to compare them apples to oranges. But no longer is that the case. Interestingly enough, Arcade Classics just came out with a couple of titles that were already on the My Arcade platform. Galaga and Dig Dug, and Galaga is what I want to take a look at here today. I actually already did a review of the My Arcade version of Galaga, and I'll put a link to it up in the corner there if you want to take a look for yourself. Up until now, we did not have a level playing field because you had to say, well, Centipede on this one versus Dig Dug on that one, or vice versa. Now we have the same title on both platforms, and we're going to take a side-by-side look at them. First thing I've got to call attention to is the new redesigned box with Arcade Classics. So for example, here's Miss Pac-Man and what they used to look like. It was a pretty standard box with a logo and little cutout windows. And the number was placed right up here on the corner of the box. Their new design, though, I think has a lot more vibrant kind of shelf appeal, if you will. The entire box, all the artwork is really game themed. They've moved the number to the side here. So if you're collecting them and you're trying to get the entire series, they moved that to the side. So you can't see it there, but on a bookshelf, if you want to set them up on the edge, you would be able to see that. The box is great for keeping it on the shelf, which I am in the box, but you really want to know how's the game, and that's what I want to compare. First impression pulling it out of the box is it feels smaller to me than I remember these little cabinets being. I've spent a lot of time reviewing these My Arcade cabinets, and just comparison, quite a bit of difference here as you can see. But let's focus on the Arcade Classics real quick. I mean, it's an arcade kind of feel. It's a bit squished this way, if you will. It has authentic side art, but it's somewhat squished. Also, I don't know why they went with kind of a gray decal instead of black, but okay. But you can look at the side art on these guys. Because of the form factor of the My Arcade, it's quite a bit taller and larger. I feel like just overall shelf appeal, what it would look like at a glance, My Arcade might have a little bit of an advantage. But let's dig in again to the Arcade Classics and see what other benefits we might have. The first one that I noticed and love about these is that they include a battery. So pulling that out will take it out of demo mode. But yeah, batteries are included, whereas you have to put 4 AA's into the My Arcade. It's a minor point, but one worth mentioning. On these things, of course, you have a power button. You have a volume toggle to go through different levels of volume. And that's about it. Control-wise, we have what is a 4-way joystick, which, I mean, Galaga only needs a 2-way joystick, but they're pretty universal, I guess. That's why we have, and you can see the restrictor plate on there that prevents it from going in more than 4 directions. You can't go 8-way. You could put a restrictor plate for up and down because there's no need for that on Galaga, but yeah. You got a fire button, and then you have the player start. Now, all that is great, but it comes down to it. Gameplay is what really matters, I think. So let's put them to the test, and I want to compare the Arcade Classics and My Arcade in terms of the Galaga experience. All right, let's start with the power-up sequence. Ah, that's a nicer splash screen for sure. And then let's see what kind of volume level it has. So hit start here. I can off, low, and high. Well, high for sure. All right, gameplay. It seems like the sound is a little more accurate here than it was on the My Arcade, but it plays a little slower, which is odd. It is not the same ROM, that's for sure. It's still not an arcade ROM, but I feel like it's closer. Oh my! Yeah, I got caught. Overall, this game feels a little slower, I think. It's not like bad. Oh, good way to die. It's not like bad slow, but it's not quite as kind of frenetic as you'd expect Galaga to be, I think. decent. Yeah, decent overall. Power on sequence for my arcade. Yeah, that's like straight up NES. And I feel like the screen is maybe smaller. That surprises me. We're going to put them side by side in a second. But volume's on the back here, so let's turn it loud, quiet, or off. Yeah, you hear that sound glitching that I heard before? I don't know how well you could hear it in the first video, but you hear it kind of crackling. The gameplay is faster, but the sound just, oh, I can't get over the sound. And the score on the side is certainly less of an arcade experience. It's almost like the CPU inside of the My Arcade just can't quite keep up with what's going on screen, which is crazy. Look, it's just firing a one bullet. Sometimes it sounds crackly. You can really see just how much more vibrant, kind of deeper blacks there are on the screen on the left, and I think it might be a little bit larger screen. I will be damned. You know, despite running just a little bit slower, the overall look of this version of Galaga is just more accurate. The score is at the top, the sounds are better. That higher contrast screen really pays off. Wow, I mean, the results here really surprised me. I mean, I expected the arcade classics to be a case of you get what you pay for. They're actually quite a bit cheaper. Arcade classics clock in around 20 bucks, whereas the My Arcade's about 25 bucks. The cabinet for this arcade classics is kind of puny and, you know, tiny compared to the cool cabinet for the My Arcade. I'd say the gameplay on the arcade classics is a hands down winner though. Not only is the screen a little bit bigger and a little bit more contrast, so the colors are richer, but you don't have that sound glitching that you have in the My Arcade, and the layout doesn't look like an NES ROM. Still an arcade ROM, but it doesn't look like an NES. The layout and the presentation is just way, way better. So here's my conundrum. If what I want to do is put something cool on my shelf that you can look at that looks the most like an arcade cabinet, My Arcade wins hands down. But if I have both of these on the shelf and somebody says, hey, let me play it, I want to see what it's like, don't hand them this. The gameplay, the Galaga-ness of this Galaga is way better than it is on the My Arcade. So here's the thing, if you're a collector like I am, you're probably going to buy them all. I sure did, because they look awesome on my shelf. But if you just want to buy one, if you don't have the money to buy both, and you really just want the best version of Galaga to represent Galaga, I've got to go with Arcade Classics. You're going to be much happier with the version of Galaga you get in that smaller and cheaper package. I hope this has helped you decide which one you might want to get, if you want to get one at all. Love to hear what you think in the comments down below, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye. GenXGrownUp is dedicated to bringing you new Generation X inspired videos every week. Here are a couple more you can watch right now, but for even more, subscribe and enable those notifications. And if you love what we do, we invite you to support us over on Patreon. And of course, your feedback in the comments and a quick thumbs up are always appreciated.